Hello guys. So yesterday I saw a very interesting post from Factory AI, or at least one of their employees, about mixed model performance where they tested out using a thinking model, an expensive model for doing the planning, which they have a spec mode on Droid CLI if you didn't know. And then they executed everything on GLM 4.5 Air, which is a very cheap model. It is very easy to self-host also. I just saw this benchmark and I was like, bro, it's like I'm very skeptical about benchmarks, and of course there's no anyone can claim this, but it is very relatable in a sense that me and most people I know actually use this mixed model approach where they do planning on a very expensive model, for example, like GPT-5 Pro or GPT-5 High, or even like Opus 4.1. And then they just execute everything according to that plan. And maybe they have a task that was also generated, and they use just a cheap model like GLM 4.6. And yep, as you can see here is GLM 4.5, or even like Claude Haiku 4.5. Which is really good at following instructions and also seeing the plans. So in this video, I'm going to test it out on our app, which we have been creating on our channel, which is called the Everything app. It is essentially just an app where we have all the AI functions, AI models be accessible in one app. It is open source. It is the main goal of this app is just to eliminate our subscriptions. We will be using it in our team. And yeah, just you don't want to spend $300 plus on, all these models and AI functions. I will be testing out with Codespace on how we can implement a similar approach, which is actually currently on Codespace. We are actually using various thinking models. As you can see here, we are using Gemini 2.5 Pro and a mixture of different reasoning models from OpenAI to execute all the planning and also creating the tech spec. But I will also be using Droid CLI to test out this mixed model performance with the spec mode and also, just the spec mode, and then just execute everything on a cheaper model, which I will have set up and show you guys. And we will be doing a real world test by building another feature on this app that we've been building. We've made several features, but in this video, we will be actually finishing the dashboard. As you can see, the dashboard has a UI for now. It is using the starter kit UI. So in this video, we will be implementing real world data from the API of the chats and all the AI functions that we'll be executing on this app. And then we'll be showing that in the analytics and the metrics of that on our dashboard. So yeah, I think it'll be a very interesting scenario we can test out. Definitely looking forward to see how it can perform. Well, I mean, I already know how it will perform because this is pretty much my day-to-day models is using a spec mode or model with like GPT-5 and Sonnet 4.5, and then I just execute everything on my trusty GLM 4.6 coding plan. So yeah, I'll test it out and we'll review everything at the end and I'll give you my thoughts. So let's just get started on building this new feature on the dashboard of the Everything app. What I want to do is, of course, create a new database schema where we can track the UI, we can track all the AI calls with, OpenAI and Gemini and all those providers, and track the tokens used and also like the usage of each models, and see how the metrics on like what models we tend to use. And to create this feature, I have created a plan for it and a tech spec, which I have made on Codespace. And if you don't know, Codespace is our app that aims to solve the problem of having to do planning and generating tech specs, where it is the core of the spec-driven development approach, where of course you create planning and docs and tasks so you can do context engineering, which is where your AI agent, for example, like Claude Code, Cursor, or Codex, will look through the context you've provided, which are docs and tasks, and also the tech spec, and they will execute everything based on the context you've given. This is better in terms of performance and also results because we provide the most amount of information about our project so that the agent or the model that will be executing everything have the maximum understanding of our app and our project. Therefore, there are less hallucinations, and of course, it will take less tokens because it will be very specific and don't have to do a lot of analyzing through our code base because that's already done through the context engineering, and also all the planning and stuff they don't have to do anymore because we already provide them that. So yeah, this is Codespace, and I've made it the tech spec here. It is based on this original description. This is the initial prompt that I've given Codespace. And then what it has done is it just expanded everything and turned it into a full-on tech spec with all these different attributes and all these different contexts. From that tech spec, it has made this list of tasks, which is very specific. You can see these tasks are very good. It is very specific to the different components and files inside our code base. And then what it has also done is execute everything with our Codespace agent, which does all the coding and just refers to all these different tasks. And essentially how it works is very similar to how this mixed model performance shown here, which is where we use a set of different thinking models to execute and do the planning. And then for the execution of the code itself, we are using a cheaper model for our we sometimes do use a mixture of different models for executing the code, but of course you can choose the different models you want to use. And for this specific task, we have only chosen Sonnet 4.5 just to see how good it looks. And yeah, it has executed everything you can see here. And then once it has finished, which it has finished, you can see the PR over here, and also the summary will be shown here, and the PR is up, and we can test it out on our local machine and just see how it is. And we can also do more tasks if there are things missing by just adding a follow-up task, or even just using Droid, which I will be doing, and just continuing the work on Droid. Since Codespace has finished all the planning, all the spec stuff, and just executed all the code, you can see there are a lot of changes that it has done. And what we do now is just go ahead and we check it out on our local directory, which I already have cloned. If you don't know how to do that, you can just go on GitHub and just clone it over here. And just to let you know, we are using the Code Guide Starter Full Stack Starter Kit, which is a starter kit built on top of Next.js, Drizzle RM, ChatCN, and also Better Auth. I think this is the best tech stack if you want to do AI coding, because it has the most amount of understanding, in my opinion, on this tech stack on any AI models, especially like Claude, Sonnet, and also GPT-5. So if you guys want to check it out, you can just go to this repo. It is free. You can just create a new repo with this template. And yeah, since I have this already on my local directory, I can just go to that branch or that PR that was open here, and we can go ahead and test it out on our local machine. So let me just check out to that branch. Okay, so now I am here, and you can see all the changes are the same as the one here on this PR. So let me just run things and test it out. Okay, for testing and also just adding new features to this current app and yeah, this current feature that we're working on, I am using Droid because of course they have that new spec mode, which is really nice. I've been using it, it's really good. And I think this is what makes Droid so good, is because you can choose different models, so that for spec mode, you can have your own model, and then for executing the code itself, you can have other models running. And for this instance, or actually what I usually do is for the spec mode on Droid, I am using Sonnet 4.5 because it has a 1.2x multiplier. And for the execution, it's gonna use GLM 4.6. I am using my coding plan. It is the custom model I just added. And why am I using this instead of the Droid core GLM 4.6? Well, that's because I just wanna, because I do have the coding plan already, and that doesn't have any token usage. It is fully on a monthly paid plan. It is not pay per use, unlike Droid, where it is having a limited amount of tokens you can use per month. So yeah, that's why I'm choosing this. And yep, that's really good. And let's just get started. So I have already pulled the changes, and then I ran the migration with Drizzle. What that does is just push the changes to my local database, which is the development database. As you can see, it has added this AI usage table, which has these columns, and it is just going to be for tracking all the usages of our different AI functions. For example, like the chats and also the web scrapes and yeah, the web summarization from an AI model. So yep, we'll be testing it out. I already ran everything. Let's see on this new. Okay, so I can already see some changes. As you can see, it is now fully changed. So this was done by Codespace, as you can see here. Yeah, on the logs here, it ran everything, and yep, it made all these changes. Now you can see that it is changed from before it was just a dummy data on like a finance dashboard, but now it is using real data. As you can see, the AI usage and AI chat sessions and all these different metrics, which is what I've asked it to implement, and also these charts, and this should be a table. But now let's see if there are any errors, so we can, actually test out Droid CLI. So I just want to check. So there are no errors right now, but I'm not seeing any usages. I'm pretty sure that's because I haven't done any chats. So let's just do a chat so it can track our usage. So I'm going to enable web search. And if you're interested to know how we've built this, I've made several videos on the Everything app. And the last video we made Perplexity clone, which is just enabling a web search for this chat interface. And it also does a web search on SearchNG, which is an open source search engine that we've hosted ourselves. So yeah, let's just try it out and see how good it is and if it actually tracks the usage. So I just ran this AI function. It should track the chat the AI calls to the for the assistant, and also the summarization work for the website. So yeah, as you can see here, it has done a web search, and let's see if it is saved properly in AI usage. So yeah, that's good. So it is saving from AI usage. but it is only the web search, so that's interesting. And yeah, you can see what provider and also how much tokens were used, but you can see it is only counting for the total tokens, which we do not want. We want a list of the input tokens and also the output token. That's the first task we are gonna do with Droid, which is just adding different columns for these tokens and not just the tokens used. I'm on Droid now, and I'm gonna do some spec work with the spec mode. Let's just do some planning here, and I want to show Droid that the new schema, which is the AI usage table, doesn't support the input tokens and output token separation. So let me just tell them that. Okay, so you can see here I am using Sonnet 4.5 high for the specking, and we'll see how that does. And I chose high because, of course, we want the most, the highest reasoning for these models because it is doing all the planning. And then the execution will come later on with GLM 4.6. Droid finished specking or creating the plan for the issue we were facing, and you can see here that I do prefer this over Claude Code planning because it does seem to be more extensive on Droid. And of course, the ability to choose those models, that's really good. And yeah, overall it is good, and I see that it has gone through database or gone through the code base, and it has created this pretty detailed plan, but not too detailed, which is nice. So let me just continue with the implementation, and I always I'll have all commands, and yep, let's just do that. Okay, so I have this bug where if I use GLM 4.6 coding plan, it does not kind of work most of the time, so you have to log in for some reason. So let me just log in first, and I'll get back to the result. The bug is sorted out. I just logged in again, and we can see it is running based on the plan, so that's great, and we'll see how things go. Okay, so that was a very quick fix from Droid. It literally just ran for like a minute, and then it just finished. As you can see, it was just using the plan, and then it executed everything with my GLM coding plan. And yep, and here are the results. So when I check the database now, it is showing everything as I wanted, which is having the input tokens and also output tokens. Although it is still using the metadata column, I do prefer having a separate column for these, but yeah, that's fine for now, I guess. I do want to try using the spec mode on Droid CLI for doing more complex tasks. For example, I do think that this should be fixed, which is the drop down here is like doesn't have a very good UI. And it is also not saving to the search params. The idea is just using state. So I am going to build a plan or a spec with Droid with Sonnet 4.5 also and see how that does. For this next task, I will be using Sonnet 4.5 for the planning, and then for the execution of the code itself, I will be trying at Haiku 4.5. Why? Because I think this should be a very interesting combo, because I'm pretty sure this is the combo that is used by Cloud Code, but we'll see how well it does on Droid CLI, and we'll also see how much tokens it actually takes for this combo, because as I've tested before, Haiku 4.5 is very token efficient, and it is able to go through the plan really good. So let's try it out. This is the prompt that I will be using. I just want to make changes to the sidebar, or actually it's not even a sidebar now. I just want to make the change to this session history, which is really bad right now. It has some bugs, and it is also like being cut off, and yeah, it's not very good UX. So I just want to revamp that and also add some functions, add some features, for example, like the search feature for it, and also just make sure that it does not disable on state. So because when I refresh right now, it just resets because it's using use state, but it said I want to have it keep the state, persist the state using a session or a search params. So let me just enter this initial prompt, and we'll see the spec that is created by Sonnet 4.5, and also we'll iterate from there. Let's see the plan that was generated from Claude Sonnet 4.5. I see that it is very detailed. I mean, not too detailed, which is what I like. And I see that it is following everything that I've mentioned. It is very brief. The prompt I gave was very short, but it was able to pick everything up and also went through the code base and pretty much just confirmed with me like what kind of layout there will be, and also the different file changes. That's nice. Okay, so I think this is good. Like the steps is really good, and we can start executing with Haiku 4.5, which I have selected. So let's actually tell it to start. And that was surprisingly quick from Haiku 4.5. It only executed in like 2 minutes or so. And yep, it has given me a summary of what was changed. And it does seem like it is, okay, that's very good. It is following the best like practices of React, separating everything into different files. That's nice. Let me just see if there's any type errors here. There are some, but we'll see how it looks though on the UI. Okay, I do think I need to install some dependencies. So let me just stop this development server and just npm install. There are no more errors, and we can finally see what Haiku and Sonnet 4.5 has spun up. If we open this, yeah, we can see that this is a new button here, and there's a sidebar, and also you can press that button. It looks pretty weird. but it is working, and you can do the search, I'm guessing. Yep, you can do it. And I can also go back to different sessions, and it is using Nux now with the use query state, saving everything to the session, persisting everything to the search bar. So when we do a refresh, it keeps the state, which is the ID here, and it just fetches the chat again through database. But as you can see, there are some minor bugs here. It is being cut off, first of all, and then, of course, this looks really weird. It is also being cut off when it is collapsed, and also when it's expanded. I can scroll down, which is weird. Like, it should be scrolling inside this this chat messages, chat sessions. That's the only thing that should be scrollable. And yep, the new chat works. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna do another prompt with Haiku to see if this is able to be fixed. If not, I will do another spec and then do a run with Haiku and also Sonnet 4.5. This is what it looks like now. When I open up the chat history, you can see the sessions. It is still being cut off. I tried fixing it with Haiku and also Sonnet 4.5, but it just won't fix it. Like, it just, I don't know, maybe it doesn't know what the problem is. But when I press the session, it is able to open the previous sessions, which is great. You can see here. There we go. And then here also, which is nice, you can also create a new chat and you can do some search here. You can see it. There we go. That's really good. So yeah, overall it is working. And let's see the final cost of everything by going to Droid CLI and then just typing in cost. I think it should show. Okay, there we go. So you can see it used up about 1.1 million tokens, which is, I would say it is quite a lot, even though we did do a mixture of Haiku 4.5. I guess Claude Sonnet 4.5 also did take up some of those tokens, like big chunk of those tokens, because it did have to go through the code base and see everything. So yeah, that's how it did. And overall, it took about 9 minutes to do everything, the specking and also the code execution, which is really fast in my opinion, but it was just a simple task. Well, it wasn't so simple, but it was just a UI related task and not like a whole full stack task. But what do I think of the mixed model approach when using these different, say, CLI agents? I do think that spec-driven development, or just doing context engineering, or if you want to say it in simple terms, just doing planning, it is, of course, the #1 best way to execute code with AI, because that is just the most optimal. I've tested out a lot of different methods, and that's just, the way to go now, because you need to provide AI with the most amount of context and understanding about your project. And what I think of the mixed model approach, I think that it is, of course, the way to go moving forward, because it does take a lot of tokens to execute code, and using just an expensive model, doing everything in one go is not ideal. You do want to separate things out and do all the hard work from the planning using a reasoning model, a thinking model, preferably one that is really good at coding. For example, Codespace is using different thinking models to run all the planning and the spec creation. As you can see here, we are using Gemini 2.5 Pro and also GPT-5 and O4 Mini for the planning, and some other models for the execution. And yep, so I think this is the approach you should be taking. You will produce, I would say, the best value, because models are just going to get more expensive, especially thinking models, especially newer models that's going to come out. So why not just utilize the most out of these thinking models and just use it for what it's made for, which is thinking, delegating the rest to coding models that are cheaper, which could be open source models or even just Haiku 4.5. If you guys have any feedback or have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. I will be linking every resource I've used in the description below also, so don't forget to check those out. And there is a Discord channel we have. You can join it by clicking in the link in the description. Thank you guys.